everyone, depending on where you are in the world. It is Wednesday today, and we are back for another Confidence Convo. This is episode 22, and this week we are diving into what beliefs have got to do with it. So, before we get started, I'd love to introduce myself. I am Davina Maria, and I am a master coach and founder of the Restore Yourself Method and host of Worthy Woman Facebook group. And I help female go-getters in their 30s develop unshakable confidence so they can powerfully step into their limitless potential. Over to you, Joanna.
Hello, everybody. Hi, Davina. My name is Joanna Tonkin. I'm a registered psychotherapist and confidence coach. I am also the founder of the Confidence Formula. I work with young adults to help them improve their self confidence so that they can become successful. Davina and I got together to create this for you because we are obsessed with all things personal development and we strongly believe in the power of learning from one another.
And just to clarify, we are not perfect at being confident all of the time. Like you, we move through our struggles and overcome obstacles and mindsets to continuously improve. So just think of us as guides by your side.
Yeah. And with that introduction, I mean, we're constantly working on our mindset to improve. And so the topic of today is really important to us. It's really what our beliefs and our belief system have got to do with it, what they have to do with your confidence, your inability to maybe have confidence or become as confident as you want to be and do the things that are really important and valuable to you. So let's talk a little bit about what beliefs are. Beliefs are the meaning that we give to the situations that happen to us. So, what does that mean? It means that if we once failed a test, we could believe that we're a failure or that we're not smart. If we were once broken up with, we can believe that we're not deserving of a relationship or we're not worthy of finding love. If someone didn't want to play with us on the playground when we were 4 years old, and we can believe that we're not likable. So, the meaning that we give to the situations is really what informs our belief system and kind of the lens with which we view the world.
Mm. Do you know what? I love all of that, and I love talking about beliefs. I'm so excited for today. I heard it was a couple of weeks ago, before we kind of spoke about this episode and the topic, I heard someone say that beliefs are a decision.
Hmm.
And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And I sat and I thought on it for a little while. And the more I kind of thought of it, I was thinking, do you know what? Maybe it is, because whether the decision is conscious or unconscious, perhaps something happens to you in life, like you said, you're in the playground, no one wants to play with you. Perhaps it is a decision to think a certain way, to behave a certain way, to feel a certain way. But yeah, I'd never heard it being described like that before. And I thought that was a really interesting kind of an angle as well.
Yeah, I really love that. I'll definitely use that in the future. It's a decision and it's formed in like ideas, which again are a decision, right?
Mm,
We have about either ourselves, the people around us, or the world just in general, right? We can believe
yeah.
that the world is a scary and dangerous place, or we can believe in abundance and manifestation, right? We can believe that it's really hard to get a job that we want, or we can believe that we're capable and qualified of getting whatever job that we want. So you're right,
Mm,
it's definitely we're deciding where to focus our energy, what to think about, and that impacts how we behave and how we move forward.
yeah, for sure. For sure. Um, I really want to kind of get into the juice, but I don't want to go too quickly. So now that we've kind of defined a belief, what, how would you advise someone if they're like, I don't know what I believe? I have no idea. What would you say to them?
That's a really great question. I think what first comes up is to pay attention to the kinds of things that you say to yourself, maybe that internal narrative, that voice inside your head.
Mm,
Um, is it like encouraging you to take risks and, try for things that you want, or is it more holding you back from things? Is it empowering or is it more restrictive, kind of things like that? Where do you find your belief system? That's a really great question.
yeah,
Do you have
because I know that I know a couple of clients that I've worked with have really like struggled because a lot of them are a bit like, well, what is a belief? And
yeah.
obviously you go into the definition of it, and I use the same one that you use until I heard the decision. Um, the decision kind of definition a couple of weeks ago, I've used the same one that you do. And I think sometimes people don't know what they believe, and they might be open to changing beliefs. They might understand how, you know, your subconscious mind and your conscious mind work, and they might think, okay, cool, I know what I need to do. I just don't know what the thing is that I'm supposed to be working on.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I don't know if that is a belief. It could be that I don't know what I need to, you know, to do. But yeah, I think a lot of people that I've worked with really struggle. They're like, oh, I don't know what I believe, and I don't know how to kind of tackle it.
Yeah, I think, you know, what comes from me is like your beliefs will dictate your thought process. And so if we pay attention to some of those thoughts, then we can kind of go backwards and say, well, if I'm thinking that nobody likes me, I probably believe that I'm unlikable, right? Or if I think that I'm not going to get this job, I probably have a belief that I'm not capable, right? And so maybe starting with what we think about can help us trace back to the belief.
100%. I always say that as well. So you've given the exact same answer that I use. And sometimes I will actually say, think about how you feel. So I always kind of say to my clients, if you're feeling bad, you're probably not thinking good thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
So think about how you feel. If you really can't think about what you're thinking about, focus on how you feel. Do you feel good? Do you feel bad? If you feel good, you're probably thinking good things, and you can kind of then narrow in and think, okay, how am I feeling? Feeling good, weather's good, work's been fine, or I'm on a day, or if I'm on holiday, I feel amazing. Whereas if you feel really bad, you can kind of then sit and think, okay, why is it that I feel bad? And sometimes that will then be, well, someone said something to me that made me think about whatever, or someone cut me up in, you know, I was driving to work and someone cut in front of me and I had to like blow my horn at them. And so I think sometimes you can also think about how you feel, and your feelings can kind of point you to, if I'm feeling bad, I guess I'm thinking bad thoughts. Okay, what have I been thinking? What happened today? But yeah, the answer that I give is the same one as you. Your thoughts normally kind of give you a steer on your beliefs.
Yeah, and I think that leads really nicely into what I wanted to share about like why beliefs are so important to begin with. And it's actually a Gandhi quote, if I can just quote it for you. I'm switching the page for a moment. But he says, your beliefs become your thoughts become your words become your actions become your habits become your values become your destiny. Another word for destiny is just your future. So really, all of our thoughts, words, actions, habits, values, and our future all really rest upon what we believe about ourselves, the world, and the people around us. And also sometimes the belief that we have of I'm not good enough, for example, or maybe I can't get that job, right? That's what we believe. Yeah. So we think to ourselves, I'm not going to apply, right? Mm-hmm. And then we don't apply. That becomes the action. And then by not applying, you know, we feel like we don't get the job. And then that reaffirms the belief of I'm not good enough, or I'm not going to get that job. So our beliefs actually work in loops. It's called psychocybernetics, where their beliefs actually form a reality, and then our reality reinforces the belief.
Yeah. I see that so much, you know, not just with clients. I see it so much with, you know, even people that I kind of interact with on a day-to-day basis. And obviously we don't want to talk about, you know, the law of attraction and manifesting and all of that. But a lot of people might complain about something. So, you know, let me try and think of an example. Like someone might complain about everyone
at work. Time, or I don't have any money.
Yeah. Oh, those are really good ones. But, you know, one of the most recent examples I've had is where someone in a job always complains that other staff always do everything wrong. So it's like, oh, you know, this person does this wrong, and this person does this wrong, and this person does this wrong, and I've always got to fix it, and I've got to, you know, I always have to make it right. And then, you know, in a week's time, it happens again, and they go, it's almost like a cycle of, you know, this person does it wrong, I fixed it, they do it wrong again, I fixed it, they do it wrong, and you're almost like in a cycle of almost like bringing about what your belief is. And if your belief is no one at work does anything right except me, that will just occur over and over and over again, because you believe that no one at work does anything right, therefore you focus on when people don't do anything right. And you can't measure what you're saying. Your belief is just kind of highlighting the thing that you are thinking in your mind, so you're more aware of it. But it doesn't mean that it's always the case. It just means that you are focusing on it because
100%.
you believe in it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the confirmation bias, because you believe that everyone at work is going to do things wrong. You're looking for the evidence where they do things wrong, and then you're fixating on that. When you're probably ignoring
100%.
all the 90% of their work, then maybe they do okay. Now you didn't have to
Yeah.
fix. You're focusing
Yeah.
on the 10% that was wrong.
Yeah, for sure. And the examples that you brought up are so good as well, because I hear people saying it all the time, like, I don't have time, I don't have time, I don't have time, I don't have time. And it's quite a dangerous thing to say, even though it sounds so innocent, because the more you believe that you don't have time, the more time you will not have.
Mm-hmm. Because the more you're going to fill up your time with doing other things. Like, I know I say it all the time, I don't have time to, do my work, but that's because I'm making social plans, I'm, taking care of myself, because I'm scheduling in other events, so I don't have as much time for my work. And so if I just didn't schedule those external things, those other things, I would have plenty of time for my work, right?
Yeah, so true, so true. And I ran like a 3-day course last week. And one of the ladies that came onto the course, she actually said something that was so interesting. We were talking not about beliefs as such, but we were talking about habits and time and things like that. And she said that she always says she doesn't have time to do her exercise. I don't have time to do exercise. I don't have time to do exercise. And at the end of the that day's course, when I said, what were your takeaways, she said, actually, I do have the time. I can fit it in, in this time slot of the day. I just don't know why I'm not doing it. But I do have the time. It is there. I'm just not doing it. So yeah, I think sometimes if you allow the beliefs to kind of run without challenging them, you might just go into I don't have time for the next 5, 10, 7 years. Whereas the minute you challenge it and go, hang on a minute, is it true that I don't have time? Your mind will then kind of go, no, you do have time. You just spend, like you said, I'm just spending it doing other things, or I'm spending it with other people, or I'm prioritizing other things. It's not that I don't have time. I'm just maybe focusing on other things at the moment.
Totally. That actually makes me think of something I think we've spoken about before, and that's goal setting. And so, like, something that I've done in the past month is I said between every client, every session I book, I'm going to do 1 minute plank. 1 minute. I can do anything for 1 minute, right? And so I've been doing, 3 or 4 1 minute planks in the day. And it's really easy. And so to that client that says, I don't have time to exercise, I'd be like, well, do you have a minute? Can you do a 1 minute plank, at a lunch break or when you get home from work or right before you leave for work? Like, you have 1 minute in your day. So maybe like making some of our expectations a little bit smaller, setting like more realistic and smaller goals for ourselves can help us attain some of these, goals that we're maybe not achieving because they're too big and cumbersome or unrealistic.
Yeah, 100%. And that quote that you've just read out from Gandhi, when he says about your habits and your actions, I think that is amazing. The 1 minute plank is fantastic. Every time they boil the kettle, they'll do like 10 squats or something while the kettle's boiling, if they're making a hot drink. So it's an amazing principle. And I think, thinking about beliefs as well, I think a lot of people believe that they have to exercise for an hour.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be a belief that you have, that the only time that I can exercise is when I have an hour to spare. And that's not true at all. Like you can do a minute plank, you can boil the kettle and do 10 squats, you could do push-ups. I know some people do push-ups before bed. I don't know why, but they do push-ups before bed. So I think, when I go to the gym, I do between 20 and 30 minutes. I very rarely do an hour workout. So I think knowing what you believe about all of these things is so helpful to then get you to a point where you think, well, actually, no, it's not true that I have to do an hour of exercise. I can do 15 minutes. I can do 15 minutes 3 times a week and I can build on it. Or, I can start with 5 minutes, 5 times a week and build on it and then do 6 minutes, 7 minutes, and so on. So yeah, I think kind of challenging our beliefs is powerful.
Definitely. Yeah.
So, oh, you go.
You go. Sorry, you go.
I was going to say as well, in terms of shifting beliefs or reframing beliefs or changing them around, how would you go about it?
Yeah. Okay. So I think there's a few like really simple things that we can do to start changing some of our beliefs. The first one, like we've kind of alluded to, is identifying or becoming aware of your belief system. So noticing some of your thoughts that you're having, identify that, maybe you do believe that you're unworthy of finding love, or, you believe that you're not smart enough or capable enough to keep a job, right? So identifying what that is would definitely be the first step. And then finding the evidence against that belief, right? So with my original example, if you fail a test and you believe that I'm not smart enough, you're probably ignoring all the evidence where you passed a test or did really well in the test or, graduated high school or university, right? So instead of fixating on the one example of that proves your belief, that confirmation bias proves your belief to be true, can you identify evidence against that belief and start to challenge that? Some other things people can do. I know inner child work is really good at this, or internal family system. So working with a professional or doing your own inner child healing and finding support with that can be really helpful, because then you can go back and actually meet that wounded part of you that formed that belief of I'm not smart enough, or I'm not likable, or I'm not lovable at whatever age. And you can actually heal that part of you that's been carrying that belief throughout time and space. And then the last one is kind of checking some of your beliefs, right? So if it's an idea that you have about someone else thinking something of you, or if you think someone doesn't like you, try asking 5 people close to you in your life, like, am I a likable person? What do you like about me? Right? And see that they actually do like you. So you're actually, again, disproving or finding evidence against the belief using other people. Right?
Yeah, I love all of those. And it's funny because last night I was journaling, and I was journaling around beliefs. It's so interesting. And I did exactly the exercise that you've just spoken about, where you write the beliefs that you have, you kind of then challenge them, and then you write new beliefs, to kind of like change them. So I love that exercise. I find it really, really powerful. And I actually think you can do it. Even if you just have 5 minutes, you could do that. Even if you're not in a place where you can journal or anything, you can just use your phone really quickly on your notes, and you can just think, right, I feel like I'm believing for whatever reason that I'm not good enough. Okay, what's the evidence to suggest that I'm not good enough? What's the evidence against the fact that I'm not good enough? Okay, what can I reframe that belief to be? So yeah, that exercise is so powerful. Another thing that I really help my clients with, and I only really do this in one-to-one, so I suppose this is quite a sneak peek, is a lot of the time relationships are like a mirror. So if, for example, let's say you believe that someone doesn't like you, and let's say that every time you're around them, they're really weird towards you, they reply your messages in a weird way, they don't put a kiss on the end, and you just think, this person doesn't like me. Because obviously coaching is very much about us and coming back to ourselves, and a lot of what I do is about coming back into yourself. One of the exercises that I get my clients to do is flip it back onto yourself, because if you believe that someone doesn't like you, and if all relationships are mirrors, and you're there to learn something, then on some level there might be something about yourself that you don't like, because it's mirrored back to you. And then we kind of go down that path of, okay, forget that person, forget what they're doing, how they're behaving towards you. Let's look at where you don't like yourself. And a lot of the time it's not related, it won't be related to friends or relationships or anything like that. Sometimes it's just like, I don't like the way I look, or I don't like my body, or I don't like the fact that I didn't go to university. Whatever it is, there's normally something that the person will be like, oh, there is something I don't like about myself, and maybe I kind of shame myself in this area. And then we kind of work with that. And the minute you can clear up that internal stuff, a lot of the time you'll notice that the person that you thought didn't like you suddenly like starts behaving differently.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, really strange, but it really works. And I think it kind of just reinforces everything that we've spoken about today, where your beliefs are where everything starts, and everything will kind of trickle down from that. And based on what you believe is what you will see.
Mm-hmm.
So if you believe on some level that you are not good enough, you might then see other people treating you as if you're not good enough. But it all kind of starts within you. So yeah, that is a really powerful one. Obviously, that one takes a little bit longer, and sometimes you've really got to like take your time with it. But it's one that I would highly recommend.
It's great. I love that one. Yeah, thanks for sharing.
That's absolutely okay. I feel like I say it every week. I feel like it's another topic that we could just go on in. And I love limiting beliefs. And I think there's so much that we've not said about beliefs. So yeah, maybe this is a part one of a series. But it's been so great chatting with you on this topic, and we will be back in 2 weeks' time. So for more information on who we are, what we do, and our love of all things confidence and self-development, you can find or follow us from our social media information, which will be posted below in the comments. And if you like what you've heard, please feel free to share, subscribe, or like, and we will see you in 2 weeks' time.
See you soon.